I had this intense pain in my head. I mean, it literally felt like somebody had stabbed me in the head with a knife. So they took a look at my scans and told my husband that I had about a 10% chance of living through surgery and 1,000,000,000 to 1 of ever being reasonably functional.
Everyone, welcome back to My Spirit Lives On, answering the questions of life in the afterlife. Today we have Kat Sanders, who not only had a near-death experience, but when she came back to life, she started cultivating special mental abilities, and she's here to share with us her near-death experience and everything that's going on now. How are you today, Kat?
I'm great, thanks.
Really great to meet you. I'm excited because you mentioned that these special mental powers are something that can be taught and learned. One of my contentions growing up in Christian church was that this guy we followed, Jesus, he walked on water and he could multiply the pizza if he was at our pizza party. But wait, I don't see anyone from church doing that. But then I read it and it says, the guy told us we could do what he's doing and even greater things. So I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on here? So would you take us down the journey of your near-death experience, and then we'll get into some of these cool psychic powers?
It was 2010, and I was having a great spring day, no issues at all. Had lunch with a friend. Everything was wonderful, feeling great. And I went home that afternoon and took a quick shower, just freshening up. My husband happened to come home, which I'm very, very thankful for. And I was walking, kind of from the shower, going into the bedroom to, get dressed, get ready. And all of a sudden, I had this intense pain in my head. I mean, it literally felt like somebody had stabbed me in the head with a knife. So I put my hand on my head, like I really literally expected to find a knife or something there. It was that intense. It took probably just 20 seconds of just intense pain before I was completely out. All of a sudden things started getting kind of fuzzy, numb. I wanted to walk over to the bed to just sit down or lie down, but my legs just didn't work. I was telling them what to do and they weren't doing it. So it was really, really scary. I remember I called out to my husband, I'm scared. And he came running over, fortunately, and caught me halfway down as I collapsed. So he called 911 thinking maybe it was a stroke or whatever, not knowing what it was. And they put me in an ambulance and rushed me off to the hospital. I know that they had to do CPR in the ambulance and I flatlined there. And I think that's probably when I had my near-death experience, although we don't know exactly when it happened. So for me, everything kind of faded to black. It was almost like a camera lens. The old cameras, for those of us who remember the real old ones when we did use our cell phones, when it just kind of goes from a circle and it just kind of collapses down into nothingness. That's what it looked like to me. It was just a nice soft black and it just went down into a pinhole and then nothing. All the pain went away. And then that pinhole, just like it had closed, opened back up. And when it opened up, I was somewhere entirely different. And immediately I knew I wasn't me anymore. I wasn't on Earth anymore. And it only took just a flash of a second to realize I was probably gone. Because, you're in pain, everything's bad, you're scared, go to black, and you wake up in a place that's like something you couldn't even imagine, so beautiful. It opened back up. It was like the shutter opened back up and I was suddenly somewhere fabulous.
That's wonderful. Did you by chance have any religious or spiritual upbringing?
Yeah, I was Southern Baptist.
We don't smoke, we don't chew, we don't hang around with those who do.
Yes. I had a very distinct religious background. And so I, definitely had a religious view of where I would go if something happened to me. So when this camera lens or whatever opened back up and I found myself in this incredible place, the only way that I can probably describe it is to say it was like a nature scene, maybe like a park, or only, 1,000 times better. And the colors were so much better. You got your box of Crayolas, but you'd need a giant size box and then some to have even close to any of the colors that we've never seen here on Earth. But the thing that really strikes you immediately is the feeling. And the feeling was so intensely unconditional love. You just feel like you are, or at least I felt like I was wrapped in this blanket of unconditional love. And I think that feeling, especially when you're in this bedroom and you're feeling all this pain and you've been in the hustle bustle of business life all day, and all of a sudden you're in this unconditional love and you just feel like you're completely surrounded. And it's like, yeah, this is where I want to be.
Don't need to go back to Earth for any reason.
No
There's
way.
no lottery ticket that would be enough. There's no orgasm that would be
Nothing. Nothing. They're even close to the experience of being in that love.
That's
And
wild.
the beauty of it all. It was like, so there's this grass in my, I think everybody gets a custom one. I completely believe everybody gets their custom place. And for me, nature made complete sense. The grass was so green, and I'm not a huge fan of green. If you're going to pick a favorite color, that's not mine. But this green, I loved. And every blade of grass was so perfect, so manicured, and just beautiful. And then there was this tree, and the tree was like maybe an oak, but better, just perfect. And it just felt like the roots went forever. And I could feel the tree. And I think that was one of the most beautiful things to do, is how everything was part of you. Like the grass was connected to me and the tree was part of me, and the sky. Wow. The sky was not just a sky. You felt like you were connected and part of it, like you could touch it and you could feel it, and you were, I don't know, part of it, and it was part of you, and it had a soul somehow. I mean, it just was amazing. And then everything just starts forming in front of you. You start hearing this music, and you start seeing animals, and you start feeling other people that are there, and it just starts building around you. It's just amazing, all these things that start popping up, and flowers and just things that are amazing all around you, forming right in front of your eyes. And you don't even think about, gee, do I have a body, or what am I? It doesn't even, pop into your brain at all. You're just in amazement, watching and feeling this love and thinking, yeah, I'm never leaving this place. I am absolutely home. And then all of a sudden, to my right pops up this, like a throne. And to me, it was like God the Father. I looked, and all of a sudden I got kind of a message that said, and all the messages were pure, plain, and simple. You didn't have to speak. You didn't have to use any words. It was all emotion, feeling, immediate messages. And the message was, I'm showing you what you need to see. And yes, I am the God that you need to see, but I'm also God, Jesus or Allah or Mother Nature or whomever needs to be seen. It's all the same.
Someone in another video was tell me if this sounds accurate, but God basically telepathically communicated to him, it doesn't matter so much what you call me, just as long as you are calling on me. Like God wants the connection. And the average person may not think about that very much. or they assume it has to be one specific name for the deity. Like, why would an all-powerful being need to be called by one exact name? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. That was the lesson. That was the lesson I was getting was, why be so specific? Why do we need to have one name? Why do we have to be
Or have religious wars? Why would we need to kill each other over what we call God? Like, that's not a godlike thing to do. to hurt someone because they have a different name.
That's right. And it's funny too, because, I'll never forget any detail of my near-death experience. And each time I even think about it and I go back, it's like I learned something, some nuance that I hadn't even thought about before. But yeah, I was getting that message. It was very clear.
Beautiful.
So once I got that connection with this God, source, creator, mother nature, whatever, and I got that message, I suddenly kind of moved into another space that was filled with, I don't know, a kind of a cloud like, I don't know, steam or fog. And I kind of moved into another area because I needed to be maybe taught some lessons or learn some things. And the first thing I was shown some things like when I was a child. So I got to see some experiences that were in my life. And I haven't quite figured out why or just, it was just some lessons of things when I was a child, some memories, some experiences. And then I was shown something that was a lesson I needed to learn. And that was, I had in my mind, and I know this is from church and other things, I have this lineup of people, and I was shown a literal lineup of people of who I thought would get into heaven first. And the very beginning of the line were the Jewish people, because I believe Jewish people were the chosen people. They get in first. After that were the good Baptists. They were people who had gone to church, had done the right thing, and who had, served right and not sinned. And after those were the people who maybe sinned a little. And so there was this whole lineup. And then, of course, the other Christians that, maybe weren't Baptist, but, they were, so all this line were people, and people who'd sinned a little more, and people who were, the wrong religion, from a Baptist standpoint, and et cetera, all the way down to the very end of the line, who were people who didn't know anything about religion, who were, maybe brought up in the wilderness. I don't know, but all the way down the line. And then all of a sudden, this creator figure took this lineup and mixed it all up, put it into one big circle. And then he got kind of big, grew kind of big, and he put his arms around all of them. And he said, "These are all my children. I would not forsake any of them. We don't judge."
That's an incredible vision. Could I ask a few specific details about that vision?
Please.
You just mentioned that you saw like God's arms reach around. They must have been massive.
It was massive.
And can I ask, did God have an appearance? Was it like a sparkly golden glow, or was it an old man with the traditional white beard, or what? How did that appear? Or was it just like a sparkling entity? Or
It's funny, when I saw him initially on the throne, he looked like a man. And yet there was shown it's not a male, female. That was part of the lesson, was it's not a male, female. It's, that was part of the lesson, but he looked like a father figure, but there was no face. I didn't get to see a face. It was just a man kind of in I guess you'd call it a robe, on a throne. There was definitely a throne, because that's what I needed to see. And it was made clear to me, I'm showing you what you need to see based on your life. And then when I was in this cloud area, this figure grew, but it wasn't really, it was more like a soul, more like a translucent figure. So maybe human-like, but not really, more like, I don't know how to describe a translucent figure. So I knew it was the same entity, but more like a beautiful, translucent, glowing. I'm going to say more like an energy. putting, just little arms, didn't have fingers, didn't have a face, just the energy putting around. I got the message, and I think that was the important thing, is that the message was this. But there were no faces, there were no fingers, there was just no clothes.
Sure.
It was just the message.
That's really beautiful. And I would imagine for people that can accept that message, it would help them to release prejudice, which is one of the lessons Vinnie Tolman talks about from his NDE is even if you're prejudiced towards prejudiced people, well, you're still being prejudiced. And, there's so many different flavors of Jesus in terms of religious denominations. And then you've got other cultures. They worship Allah, but they also have their own ideas of what's right and wrong. And I'm wondering how long it could take I wonder how much longer Earth has, on this go around. And then I also wonder if we do go another 100 years, if we can get to that closer to oneness and accepting everyone as God's children.
Yeah. I knew that it was a lesson for me. And I also believe I was being given the message, not just for me. Once I got through that, I was kind of moved onto this, I don't know, there was like an image on a shelf. The only way I can describe it, it's like, look up here. Now look up here. And I saw different kinds of people kind of flashing by. One started off kind of I'm going to say like a gang member type of person, the way they were dressed. And I was told, look into the eyes. Don't look at the shell. Don't look at the clothes. Look into the eyes. See the soul. And there was kind of a glowing inside when I looked into the eyes, kind of a glowing inside. And then another person would appear, maybe look kind of like a homeless person. Don't look at the shell. Look into the eyes. And there was kind of a glowing right around the middle section, just under the heart, near the diaphragm. And then I saw a nice looking lady, looked sort of like me, someone that would be maybe a friend of mine. Look into the eyes. Don't judge by the shell. Look into the eyes. And I believe the message was there is source, creator, God, in all of us. You've got to look for that in every single person.
Wow. So there's something about that old communication principle, like trope of looking into the eyes when you're talking to someone. It actually really means a lot. It sounds like
it does. And that you've got to understand that everybody's been through different things and that everybody may have a reason to do a bad thing or to dress a certain way. And you've got to love the person in spite of themselves, because inside of everyone is source, creator, God. Love everyone and don't judge them. And so after that, I went back to the original place where I started with that beautiful nature scene. And at this point, there were even more animals, souls, and I could feel calming down, towards the other side. And this like sidewalk appeared. And it was brilliant, brilliant white. And I could also feel a calling, and it felt like back to the other side. I could feel my son, my husband, my stepdaughter. I could feel them calling. And I could also feel other people I didn't even know. It was almost like I could feel their prayers, their thoughts calling me back. And I could feel connected to, like, my husband, my brother, sister. I could feel them, my son. And it's such a beautiful feeling because, you're not there with them, but you're closer to them than even when you were there with them. So you feel absolutely no disconnect. So why would you want to go back when you don't feel like you've lost them? So to me, it was the perfect place because I'm still there with them. I can still feel them. I can still understand what they're thinking. I'm right there. I don't realize that they can't really feel me. I know they're calling to me, but I don't feel that disconnect. And all these people were like calling to me and praying for me. I could feel their prayers. But then at the end of the sidewalk, I could feel my mother, my ancestors, my grandparents, so happy to see me. And I felt like all I had to do was walk down that little sidewalk, and it was so bright white. It was like the white light that calls to you. And all I had to do was just go down that sidewalk, and I'd been there forever.
Huh.
So, and it's this white light was just beckoning, just like pulling you in.
Did it feel like that sidewalk might have been leading you down towards like a heavenly home? Like in the Bible, it says, in my Father's house there are many mansions. And we assume the house is heaven and the mansions are your personal domicile, spiritual domicile, where you get to live in whatever we do in heaven, party, play parcheesi, play rummy cube, play tennis. It's like, so did you get to see that, or just the sidewalk leading down your neighborhood, or how did that go?
I could only see the souls and feel them, but it felt like there was a huge party on the other side. And again, if I just went into that light, just walked down that little white, bright sidewalk, I would be there for eternity. I would be there forever. And I was so anxious to go into that white and down to where that huge party was waiting for me.
Wow. That sounds
And so, of course, I went that way. Of course I did. I feel like the near-death experiences, those wonderful places we go to, that's just like a temporary mezzanine, an in-between, I like to call it, an in-between place before we go into the light and stay forever. So I was anxious.
And so you also heard the prayers of people that were on earth and like concerned for you. Did those prayers, is that what pulled you back into your body, or did an angel or did God tell you, hey, you can't stay, you got to go back? Because some people say they feel like they actually get like a gentle push, and others say it's like I closed my eyes and I just woke up, or I zipped back into my body at lightning speed. How did that go down?
Well, I wish I could say that all those prayers influenced me, but sorry, folks, I was so happy to be there. And even my husband and my son saying, please, Mom, get better. Felt so connected to them already. It's like, no, I'm right here. Can't you tell? I'm right here. I could feel you. I started down that white path. I wanted to stay. And my late father immediately appeared in front of me and stopped me. He just appeared right on that path.
Wow.
Like full my father, the way he was my father. It wasn't a spirit looking guy. It was my father. Just stopped me from going and appeared in front of me.
Your father appeared right in front of you, really real, just like we're talking now almost, right? And then did he look younger? Did he look like a perfected age in his 20s or 30s?
He did.
Hmm.
And he looked younger than when I was even born. So, because he looked about 25, and I think he was in his 30s when I was born. So
You didn't have a hard time recognizing him, though? You
not at all.
Oh, wow.
Not at all.
Great.
And when he passed, he was in horrific shape. He had had a disease, a blood cancer that had just ravaged his body. He had had skin cancer that took part of his nose. And he was in horrific shape when he passed. He had been sick for a very long time, and he was just in really bad shape. And had gray hair, and but when I saw him, he looked about 25. But I recognized him immediately. And it was so good to see him. And I just, immediately it was like, Daddy, and I wanted to just throw my arms around him and stay with him forever. And he had his award-winning smile, and, his freckles and his auburn hair. And That's it. I'm staying.
Can I ask one more question? Did he have his unique style from his earthly life, or was he wearing just like a white robe or a hat or anything?
It's funny because I don't remember clothes.
Okay.
I just remember his face,
Hmm.
and yet I know it felt like his full figure stopped in front of me, but I only remember seeing his face.
Okay.
And, but he literally stopped me, from progressing any further down that path. And and I just wanted to just grab onto him and hold on forever.
So it was a short conversation, or?
It was unfortunately. He stopped me and he basically said, "You have more to do and you need to go back." I can't say that I was terribly disappointed, and you would think that I would be because I wanted to go so much with him. But when you're in that beautiful place and your daddy says that to you, and God's around,
Yeah.
you know that it's got to be true. And you can feel that it's true because again, all communication there is telepathic. It's all done through feelings and emotions in pictures in your mind, and it's not done through words. So when your daddy sends you a message that says you have more to do, you need to go back, it's done with such truth that you immediately accept it.
Did you get any specific directives like, hey, you got to talk to so and so, or tell the public this, or go on Adam's YouTube channel?
If only. I would love to have come back with tablets.
As general. Yeah.
That would have been so nice.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can only glean. I still go back in my mind to my near death experience over and over. It's like, what did I miss? What did and I come back with some things. I know I need to tell people that death is a beautiful transformation. It's a transition into something so beautiful, and you're so connected to everyone that no one should fear it, and no one should fear that they're not going there, regardless. And I don't care if you did something bad in your life or you committed suicide I got that message. And I'm not saying go do something bad or, take your life. Don't do that because you're going to have a life review. And there's some things, that are not, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Never, but
Agreed.
yeah, because the other thing I learned is it is such a love fest up there. It is so loving. And you are so exposed to everything that you've done here on earth. Everything is exposed. You can't hide. You can't say, well, no, I didn't do that, because you know what? Everything is done from, you know, emotions, feelings, all of that. It's all truth. It's all truth up there. Wow. You can't hide. So you want to do things out of love and compassion here because it's all exposed up there. There's no hiding behind anything.
This is something.
When you do that, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, finish your thought.
When you do the love and compassion thing and then you're showing your life review, and I know that I had a very short life review, but that was not my lesson. I'll get my big life review. And you see that when you did these good things and it rippled, you get that ripple that says, okay, I did this and it helped this person. And you get to feel that and how it rippled into other people. You get to experience that. And when you do that bad thing and that ripples into other effects of negative things, you're going to experience that too in your life review. And you don't want to feel that. You don't want to feel that.
I agree. I have never had a life review. I came very close to my spirit leaving my body. I almost drowned once and I heard a voice talk to me. So I know this is really real. The whole idea of the ripple effects, though, that has gotten me to think much more conscientiously about my life because I'm a fairly industrious person. I like to get things done and accomplish things. But when you're pushing really hard, sometimes you don't know you're rubbing people the wrong way, or you're like, you're being maybe demanding or forceful or just rude. And I'm realizing we don't get away with anything. We think we do. But just like you'll be talking about coming back to your body and your employer not paying the Cobra on your behalf that you paid into, like that caused a ripple effect. And so they're going to see how that affected you. We're also forgiven, right? Like if we're on God's side, we're going to get that life review and we're going to pass on into a great place. Do you have any thoughts while we're on that topic? Why do people have a hellish NDE experience? Or do some people go to hell and they go there for a little while and they get cleansed and burned up and then they get out? Or how does that work?
This is my opinion, and I certainly don't know it all because I've only been to that in between place. I think those people that have a hellish experience with it, that's what they need. And part of it is, again, you're not going all the way when you go to a near-death experience. You're going to this in-between place where you learn what you need to learn. And for those people who have this negative experience, my guess is that that's what they have in their mind because of their upbringing, maybe their religious beliefs. They think that's what they deserve, or they think that's what they're going to see, or they need to learn something from that. But what I was taught, at least in my experience, was that forgiveness is complete. You can't have judgment and forgiveness. It's not possible. So if forgiveness is complete, which is what I was shown, how can you also have the judgment? Now you can experience, because we're all learning. That's why we're here, is to learn. So we're all these beautiful souls, part of the Creator. So if we're here to learn and experience, what does it feel like to touch a hot stove, right? And how many times do we have to keep doing that, darn it? But, if we're here to learn physically, that's why Jesus was sent here as well. He was sent to do a whole lot of things, but partly so that he could experience, just like we are here to experience what it feels like to be physical. Okay, so if we are forgiven, which I believe we completely are, and that was my lesson as well, we're forgiven, how can we also be judged? Now, we can go through an experience that'll show us what our experiences, what we did while we were here to cause pain or to cause beauty and joy in other people's lives. We can experience that as well through a life review. But ultimately, we're eternal souls. And so we will go back, we will be forgiven, but we'll be shown and learn what we did to other people.
That makes a lot of sense, the way you explained it. And part of my theme of my program is answering the questions of life and the afterlife, and to get a well-crafted logic around this whole idea of eternal suffering. I've come to the conclusion that life review, it has Dr. Eben Alexander said, the golden rule, like do unto others as you'd have them do for you, is woven into the fabric of the universe. And you see this in the life review, how the golden rule plays out, like doing for others what I want them to do for me. So I punch my little brother on the nose. I feel that punch on my nose in my life review. I gave a homeless guy $10. I see how that made him feel. And then we take it all the way to the most extreme example that comes up a lot is what Hitler did. And then it's okay, if Hitler has to have his life review and you're going to feel what it felt like to breathe in poison gas 100,000 times for 100,000 people that had to, whatever the number was, that's going to feel like eternal suffering. It's going to feel like a lot of suffering if you have to suck down poison gas once, then you die, then you come back to life, right? Because your soul's eternal and you're getting your life review. Then you suck down it again. That's twice. All right. Now just add that infinitum and it's going to feel like eternity of suffering. So now I think I better understand what hell really is and how it's probably not eternal.
Yeah, does Hitler go to heaven? Well, if you call heaven the higher consciousness, yeah. But did he have to go through his life review? I certainly wouldn't want that life review. How about you?
Yeah, and it goes back to free will. We get to make these choices. Do I want to be an evil dictator? Do I want to be an artist? Do I want to have a YouTube channel? Do I want to play piano? I get to make all this free will, and God lets us have that free will. So it's a pretty wild life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you were talking to your dad, and you're back in the body, and you're having a brain operation. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, going back into the body from there is not an easy task. I've heard a few other people say this too, but at least for me, as soon as I accepted the fact that I was going back, things got very heavy. You know, it was a disconnect that was not a pleasant experience. I started feeling heavy. Things started going dark again. And that heaviness just got worse and worse and worse. And then I went back to black. It was that soft black. And then I felt like I was kind of being shoved into a space that I didn't fit in anymore. And I think that was me going back into my broken body. And it's funny because I really felt like my soul didn't fit into my body anymore because it really was a shove to get back in there. And then it was just kind of black for a while. I was in a coma for several weeks. I basically had a birth defect I was completely unaware of, where I had 5 veins in my head that you have the arteries, then the veins, whatever, you have capillaries. I didn't have the capillaries. So it was basically a roadblock in my brain of 5 veins. And all of a sudden, they all 5 burst at the same time. Doctor explained it to my husband like it was kind of like my brain was like acting like a balloon in a washing machine.
Oh, wow.
So much blood from the 5 veins, like 5 aneurysms kind of bursting at once, that much blood. And it was pretty bad. They even explained to my husband that, I went to the emergency room. They drilled a couple holes in my head to let the pressure off, let some blood out. Then they sent me over to the regional hospital where they had a brain surgeon team. They were full up. They didn't want me, but they sent me anyway. So I sat in the hallway, I guess, for a couple hours. They literally had no place for me. The brain surgery team was there for a gang member that had been shot in the head. And just before they started to operate, he died.
Didn't make it.
So they had nobody to operate on. So they took a look at my scans and told my husband that I had about a 10% chance of living through surgery and 1,000,000,000 to 1 of ever being reasonably functional.
Oh, my God.
That I would probably be a complete vegetable. And did he really want to even try?
But they were wrong. There's no polymarket bets for like doctors' prognoses, is there? Like, hey, I'm gonna throw $100. I'm gonna live longer than the 3 months you're promising me. If I say she's gonna live, I can't make that promise because if she dies, then I'm in trouble. So doctors can really give you great news, can they?
That's right. So so for the listeners, if the doctor gives you really bad odds, know that they're over exaggerating most likely. So
Fascinating.
My husband fortunately said, do the surgery. And they did. It was pretty touch and go for, the first week or so. But I did live, obviously. And then I had to learn everything. I had to learn how to take my hand and put food in my mouth again. I mean, it was like I was a toddler.
Walking, even.
Oh, that took me about a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in a wheelchair and then I finally got in a walker and I finally could walk again. And
let me guess, the whole time you're thinking, I would love to go back to that place with Daddy and the sidewalk.
There are still times. There are a lot of times, I'm very happy to be here. And I really do feel like I have, a good reason to be here because I've been able to help a lot of people. And once I came back, all of a sudden I started having these ideas and visions and things happening that surprised me.
The topic of reincarnation comes up a lot on this channel, and it's something that I used to not believe in until I learned it was scientifically proven by, I think you've heard of Dr. Ian Stevenson, The Children Who Remember Previous Lives. Did you get any glimpses of past lives during your out-of-body experience?
I didn't, but I actually completely believe in it now. In fact, I am a certified hypnotherapist because I believe in it, and I've taken some people back into previous lives and had a lot of fun doing it. It makes complete sense once you understand kind of how the universe works and you realize why we're here. We're here to learn and experience as a soul, because while we're on in the higher consciousness, we can maybe watch and look, but you can't. It's like watching TV. You can't really experience all of the things of being physical unless you are physical. So you come down and you learn what it feels like to touch something hot or what it feels like to experience the feelings of being physical. And, I'll just be blatantly honest. What does it feel like to have sex? What does it feel like to have a baby? What does it feel like to drive a car or to go to work or to have these emotions, to be angry with someone or to, you know, be in love? Or what does it feel like to do these things? You can't experience that unless you have a body.
So it's almost like a benefit, because in heaven, no pain, no sadness, no suffering. So to come down here and say, oh, that's what it's like to smash my thumb with a hammer. That's what it's like to fall off a skateboard and skin my knees. It's like almost like the pain is a benefit. Is that, am I getting that right?
It is. And a lot of times, we'll be up there and we'll go, you know what? I'm going to come down and have another life. I know I've had 100 or 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to come down and this time I'm going to make it a really tough life. Create these contracts where we'll say, I'm going to pick these parents, and this time I'm going to get cancer. This time I'm going to have a really tough life. I'm going to pick some abusive parents because I want to feel like, because when you're up there, a life looks like nothing flat. It's going to be just 80 years or, in fact, I'm going to pick a short life and I'm going to have some challenges. Now, we have complete free will. So we might change courses a little bit and change some things, but some of the big stuff, I truly believe, and this is me, I'm not the universal expert, but from what I've seen and experienced, you pick some of the big stuff yourself and you say, I'm going to have a tough one this time because it's no fun to have a power puff life. You don't learn enough if you don't have the challenges. What is it to come down and go, well, I'm just going to, kind of hang around and not do a whole lot? Nothing is, nothing is as beneficial as adversity, challenge, well, I did a few things in my last life that were not so good. So this time I'm going to have some adversity. I'm going to have a little bit of tough things.
I'd really like to know what you think about this is coming back in the idea of karma or like a karmic carryover, like someone I murdered or robbed a bank or stole from in a previous life. Is it possible to switch roles with that person in another life? And now I'm the guy getting stabbed or robbed because I robbed him before. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And it might be a choice to do that. I don't believe we are required to do that.
Okay.
But again, that's my guess. I don't really know. I would think, boy, I really feel kind of off because when you're in that love fest, on the other side, you might feel like, you know what? I really kind of wish I hadn't done that. And, maybe to make up for it, maybe we'll just switch or maybe we'll, because again, when you're up there, you look at these little, lives that we're going to go into and it's like, yeah, that would be kind of a fun way to spend such a short amount of time. because it's so eternal and, long and easy. And there's no time up there at all.
Mhm.
So what's a few years here?
I might even cut this out because it can be kind of sordid for some people, but like I'll be interviewing Carrie Cohan soon. She wrote the 5 Lessons of Life. And there's an idea of like a soul tribe. It's not just in her book, but a lot of people mention this. And they say, yeah, you're hanging out with other spiritual entities and you're all planning to come to Earth as a group. And like you might have an evil stepdad that did some weird things to the daughter. And now she's got to learn her big life lesson is forgiveness of that man. But they planned it ahead of time and they were actually laughing about it in spirit form. Like, this is going to be so fun. We're going to go down there and do this. But then when you're here, you're like, oh, this sucks. What did I sign up for? So that's actually a really advanced concept for people to grasp. And it seems like in this eternal perspective, God's not really seeing right and wrong the same way we're seeing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're back in the hospital. The cobra's not covering you. What was that like, losing everything? And I'm putting air quotes on everything because I'm guessing you still had the clothes on your back and a few people to rely on.
Yeah, a little bit. But it was hard, but it's so funny because once you've been to the other side and you realize what life is really about and how beautiful it is there, life has such a different meaning that it just doesn't matter. What I'm thankful for is that my husband was with me on this because I had been such a workaholic. Everything was about working and volunteering for nonprofits and, type A personality. And everything was just, everything was just busy, busy, busy all the time and focus on work. Yeah. And I come back from this and all of a sudden it's like, you know what? That's not what's important. What's important is our relationships with other people, our family, our friendships, and each other, and, and ourselves. We got to love ourselves. And it's just a whole different way of thinking about life. And so losing everything, it just didn't matter so much. And it was okay. So I didn't have the 4,400 square foot house. So we rented for a while. We had it rented for, since I was 18 years old, I think. And so, okay. And then all of a sudden we started getting, I don't want to call it lucky because I don't believe in coincidence and I don't believe in luck. Things started happening to where we were able to buy a house again. And then we worked real hard to fix it up. And then we sold it and bought something better. And so we've been doing okay. We don't have a lot and we don't care because all of a sudden we're taken care of. We're okay. And it's not what it's about. And I've been able to help people because all of a sudden I could see, things in people that I know they need help with. And I know I can help them with the fact that they shouldn't be afraid of death. So I'm able to help hospice people who need to know what it's like to die and what to expect. And I'm able to work with people who've lost loved ones because all of a sudden, Source, Creator, gave me a gift to be able to talk to people on the other side and share with them messages.
Wow. So doing palliative care and hospice work, similar to what Danny and Brinkley does, you're with somebody on their deathbed, for lack of a better term, and you can actually help them transition, and you're getting messages from maybe a loved one that's waiting to meet that person on the other side, and you can get a message. That's incredible.
I can generally tell them before they cross who's going to meet them. There's always someone that helps you cross. You always have a person that comes and escorts you across. For me, it's going to be my dad. He already showed me that. For everyone, they have a person. And so when someone's in the later stages of life, before they cross, I can generally tell them who it's going to be because they'll come and show themselves to me. And I've been able to have what's called a shared death experience with people who are dying or who had just died, if I'm there when they pass. And I can share with their family what they experience when they pass, their near death experience and going across, because I can experience with them being immediate.
You just gave me a really interesting but also dark thought. And I want to talk about your book in a moment, but you reminded me of an excerpt from Grace Babolka's book. And she's one of my very first guests that I interviewed. She's friends with my mom. They're in a California Writers Club together. At the hospital Grace was at, she remembers there was a lady really sour and angry and just smoking. Somehow she was smoking cigarettes while she was in the hospital bed. This was like decades ago, maybe before rules got really strict. And this sour woman was so angry, and she was basically saying, I don't want to die. The demons are coming to get me. Like, I don't let me die. Don't let me die. So someone did come to get her. Like you're saying, a loved one brings someone to heaven. But this woman somehow knew before she died, she was destined for hell and that she was getting escorted by bad spirits. So I just thought that was really fascinating because you said someone's always there to escort you.
Yeah.
You started developing your psychic powers. I'm guessing a lot of people say that's too woo-woo, or they might dismiss you. They think your psychic powers can't be coming from a good place. It's the power of the devil. How does that work? Can you tell me some stories about that?
It's funny. I would have said that too before my near death experience. That's absolutely how I believe.
Even Jesus got accused like that he was using the power of the devil to cast out demons. Like people just don't get it, I guess.
I, and I totally understand. And I have, a lot of my church friends are kind of like, no, that can't be. It's interesting because what I understand now is that it's so all about love. And when you just relax yourself and think about love, your subconscious, your mind can actually tap into the love that's still on the other side. And that love connection. And how can it be wrong when it's about love, right? That love connection is still there. It never goes away. And that power of love from God, from source, and the power of love from, say, my father, my mother, who are on the other side, that connection just never dies. And so if you want to get into talking to somebody on the other side and you just really connect in with the love through your heart, put your mind aside for a minute and you connect in, you can still communicate with them. And how can you say that that's not something that God would help you with? You know that people don't, that, soul is eternal. You know that they go to heaven, right? It's in the Bible. We go to heaven. You know they're not gone. So if they're not gone, can we communicate with them? Would love ever die? Love doesn't die. And it just makes sense. We just have to open our minds up to the understanding that they are there. The love doesn't die. And it's right across the veil. It's just not somewhere we can't reach.
Yeah. Well, even Jesus was able to read the thoughts of the Pharisees that were accusing him. It said he knew what was on their mind.
It is by the power of the devil that you cast out evil spirits. I know your thoughts. You are full of pride and you think you serve God. But you serve only yourselves.
Oh, blasphemer! You are not God! So he had psychic ability. And we got to take the stigma off that word. It just means mind power is what it really means. And yes, there's scammers out there. Yes, there's like the 900 number hotlines that are going to take your money. But there's also people that really do it. Like I can see mentalists on like America's Got Talent that are pulling off stunts that no one could humanly explain. And then Jesus told us, wait, you can do the things I'm doing and you can even do it better. It's like, come on, people. Why are you content just to drink the coffee and the donuts and sing the hymns and get a good Bible lesson and you go home feeling warm and fuzzy when you could be walking on water? Like, I'm not saying shame on you. I'm just saying, why not live in the fullness, right?
Right. And here's what I like to do. I don't like to sit here on a Zoom call or in a room with someone and tell them I'm talking to your loved one. Yes, I can. And yes, I have. People go to me for that. What I like to do is teach them how to connect themselves. Why get someone a fish if you can teach them to fish? Because everyone has the ability to do this, to connect in themselves. And then you know it's real, don't you? You know that you're talking to someone on the other side because you can say, that's only something my father, my grandfather would say to me or would do and connect with me in that way.
I wasn't planning on this, but would you like to teach me a lesson on that topic? Or
Absolutely.
okay. Should we do it now or should we say
You do it right now.
no time like the present?
I'll teach you how to connect in. How's that? And once you connect in, you can use this connection for talking to an animal here in the physical world. You can use the same connection for talking to someone on the other side. Okay.
I'm open.
All right. Here it is. The first thing you need to do, and you could practice it by meditating, all of this to get better at it. Okay. But you need to get within yourself. Okay. So you need to relax, calm your mind. We need to get your left brain basically to calm itself down. That's the side of the brain that is the logical side that is going to be always telling you, no, that doesn't make sense. That's not right. We don't want to think that way. And let your right brain just let itself go. So that can be done through hypnosis, meditation. But for today, we're just going to relax. I want you to take a deep breath in. As you're breathing in light and love from God and from above. When you let it out, you're going to let out any negativity, any thoughts of despair, anything that's harmful to your body. And breathe in a couple of times like this. Breathe in healing, beautiful love air. And let it out, anything negative or harmful to your body. Breathe in through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. Hold it in just for a moment this month. Let it swirl around and let it out through your mouth. Next time you breathe in, I want you to breathe it into your heart. Let that beautiful air go into your heart. As it enters your heart, let it enter your bloodstream. And let that beautiful air, that pure love air, go all the way through your bloodstream to all of your blood vessels. Keep breathing normally. Deeply. Good. I want you to start thinking about someone that you love very, very much. Okay. Think about a time you spent with that person, a memory that you have. Maybe you're holding that person, you're with that person. Think about that person. Breathing. Now, as you think about this person, I want you to expand on the love you have for that person. Just expand. And that love is just flowing right through all your veins. You're expanding on that love. Good. Now, the next breath you take in, this time you're going to breathe it right into the right side of your brain. You can feel it going into the right side of your brain. It lifts you. As it lifts you, you're expanding up into the universe. And it opens everything up. Opens up to the universe. And you're open to communication. There's someone on the other side, someone you've lost. This is the time to think about that person. Think about the love you have for that person. And again, breathe in deeply and let that air right into the right side of your brain. Let it expand you up. Let it open up. Keep thinking of love. Let that expand you. You're open to communication. Think about that person on the other side. Your vibrations now are raising. You're full of love. You're not worried about anything else in the world. Those thoughts are gone. If a thought comes in, you just let it pass. And you allow that love to completely overtake your body and mind. Think about that person. Let them come to you. And ask that person, are they there? Let them communicate to you. Let them show you that they're there. Let them give you a tingling in your hands. Or a message in your knowing, in your mind. Let them send you love as you send them love. And let them send you a special picture, something in your mind, a picture or a movie or something, a memory, something that you shared, a special memory or a special message, a feeling in your heart, something special, only for the two of you to remember. Could be a picture, could be a feeling. Something between the two of you. Ask them to send you something special. Picture. A knowing. An emotion. Something that shows they're there for you. And that it's them. That it's them. If you're feeling that, let me know what it is.
I had a friend who died many years ago. His name was Justin Bonstel. I didn't make it to his funeral, but I knew him from when I worked at a Gold's Gym, and he was bodybuilding and just a really jovial, fun guy. Like not really a meathead type of a person, but he was talented. He could do backflips. He could dance, and we had a lot of fun memories, some goofy memories. He really was exuberant, and he loved living life. And he was like one of those kind of guys. And I just felt him, I kind of felt like his presence being close by as I was thinking about him.
Inside of you, yes.
And he was telling me, I was on my right side, and he was telling me, it's all good, man. I'm having a great time up here. It's kind of what I heard. And like, I'll see you soon, or not soon, but someday. And he didn't even say that, but it's like the feeling I got is like,
yes.
I got visions and memories of us having some fun, like a YouTube clip we made once, and some wild things we did. I had a memory of a time he slammed his car, or slammed his hand into the car door, but he did it like intentionally as a joke. I think he was trying to like pretend, but he actually slammed the whole door on his hand by accident, and his hand got stuck in the door. I just remember just just memories of him. But I just felt like a presence nearby, and that I asked for something, but I felt like maybe I'll get like a reminder later on, like I'll see a Facebook memory or something, or I don't know.
I see him on your right side. I see him there. So I knew you were talking about a male approximately your age, because this is the way I see a spirit is in certain areas. He's also telling you to stop feeling guilty about not being there.
Yeah.
Stop the guilt. Do you feel that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did feel guilty. I was a broke, struggling actor just paying rent, and I felt like I couldn't even afford the gas money to drive to go to his funeral. But I was too embarrassed to ask my parents for help, like because I was paying rent and trying to pay bills. And anyways, yeah,
He's sending me that message. He was trying to send you that message, but you weren't necessarily picking up on that. He's saying he's okay, he's fine, but he's also sending you stop feeling guilty.
yeah, I get that now. I get that. Yeah,
You feel that?
yeah,
Yeah. You ever caught the bro?
sure, yeah.
Yeah. And said, stop it, bro. Stop it. Stop the guilt. Stop the guilt. And he's all good. He's all good. He's also telling me it was his plan.
Okay.
It was his plan. That was what most people go when it is their time. And I see that a lot, that they're completely satisfied with the fact that that was when they were supposed to go. They don't necessarily know it when they go, but when they get to the other side, they realize that that was their time. But he was pretty excited that you called him in.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends from back
Yeah.
in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Glad you called him in. Now, do you see how you can do this?
I'm starting to get a sense for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've just started. So the more we meditate and start to calm ourselves and understand how we relax our minds, get into that feeling of love, put ourselves into that place, the easier it is to just do it on a dime, do it on a quick nod, put ourselves into that place and be able to connect. The next time you do it, it'll be easier. And the time after that, even easier. And you'll be able to connect in faster and faster and easier and stronger every time you do it.
Okay.
And in a few tries, you're going to say, hey, I can do this mediumship thing, right? And all of a sudden, you won't be disbelieving in mediumship, not saying that you do or don't.
I know there's something to it, but it's all
It's as simple as that. And using that same technique, if you have an animal companion, I don't like to call them pets, but an animal companion,
Mhm.
and you use a similar technique, connecting in that way, and you send them love, and then you say, how are you feeling? Or are you hungry? Or do you need to go out? They can send you back a message that says, I need to go out, or I'm hungry, or I don't feel well. I need to see the doctor, or whatever message. I talk to animals in my backyard in a similar way. It's all telepathy. And that's how you do it. It's a beautiful way to communicate.
there is something about animal communication. I mean, we actually have, there's birds that can talk. Parrots can tell you back what you told them. I love you, or Polly want a cracker, or whatever. And dogs seem to try to make phonetic sounds as well, like in the language of their owner. So there is definitely something to be said for that communication. And we know we see our pets in heaven, right? Or our animal companions. It's really wild. Now, on the topic of the past life regressions, can I ask a question from a skeptic's point of view? And that is you're walking someone through a hypnosis session, technically, and they're trying to go in. And for any of my new audience members, if you're on the fence about reincarnation, it's been scientifically proven. You don't have to take it in faith. And I'll bring up Dr. Ian Stevenson, Children in My Previous Lives, one more time. But anyways, with the past life regressions, how can one be certain? And my understanding is that you, the practitioner, you're leading them through, and they're the ones bringing up the memories. You're not telling them. I suppose some people could be psychic enough they could tell you what you were, but doesn't the individual themselves, they need to go through the memories. How can they be sure they're not just imagining things? Because some people I've heard, like women all think they were Cleopatra in a past life. Well, 100 people couldn't all be Cleopatra. So how can they be absolutely certain they're remembering a real past life regression?
I take them into a place where they choose a door to go down from. I take them, back in a regression, and then they choose a door to go down. I think it's an experience, a feeling that they're going to have themselves, because they're going to see, and their former self. We're going to ask questions of what did they learn from that life. For the most part, everybody thinks they're Cleopatra. In my experience, I've not had any Cleopatras. They find out they're very normal people in their past lives. And there's, a lot of Wild West, and there's a lot of, but they're very normal. And even I think one person that was some kind of Pharaoh's daughter that came through, her experience in that life was really not all that positive. And it was, in her particular case, and it was all about relationships and things like that. Even the glamorous so-called, gee, I was this, turns out to be, it's still all about relationships and the things that we learned, the lessons that we learned from that, the things that we didn't do right in that life that we'd like to do better in this life. So don't think it's going to be a glamorous experience when you do a past life regression. It's a lot about, gee, I really should have done this differently, and I hope you do it in this life better.
Wow. And then this leads me into another concept, and that is old souls versus young souls. And so if we're coming from this understanding that there's a God source that created everything, including the spiritual energy that we subsist of, or our soul, is it possible someone could go into a hypnotherapy session and then they realize, wait a minute, this is my first incarnation? I have no previous lives. Is that possible?
I've not run into that, and I believe souls have been around for a very long time. They may not have incarnated as often. So yes, some souls have incarnated a lot more often than other souls. So you're going to have some souls that are more earth experienced than other souls just because they've been here more times.
But it just opens so many ideas. Like, okay, so maybe I was there in, 100 BC, and then I took a break for 1,000 years because heaven is timeless. And I came back in 1100s in the Dark Ages. That's really fascinating.
Well, and imagine too, we think in a linear time frame, and as I understand it, it's more like a CD where you can kind of skip around. Of course, do we even know what CDs are anymore? But
yeah,
where we can kind of skip around and stuff. I mean, we need to maybe just, instead of deciding it's this way or no other way, just keep an open mind, because really none of us knows exactly the way that things are. I've been dead and come back, and I have some ideas that are, maybe new and unique to other people. I'm just suggesting that people keep a very open mind, because we don't know. God, source, creator, is omnipotent and beautiful and wonderful. And let's just keep an open mind to what the possibilities are.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because for me, I notice thinking I know everything. Number one, it can't be true. Now, I'd have to be God, right? I'd have to be source God, not the little G that I believe I am. So I'd have to be God. But also, if I get in that kind of a mindset, like like I'm right all the time. I'm now like leaving love. I'm leaving that mindset of love, because now it's like, oh, I know better than you. I'm smarter than you. And then somehow it just takes you out of the love paradigm when that happens. And that's something that's been big for me, is keeping that open mind. And then I feel closer to possibilities, closer to miracles happening and things like that.
I was very religious, and I was very, doing all the right things, and, volunteering with the nonprofits and donating and doing all these things. And then I flatline, and I'm taught that, you know what, you might be a little judgmental, and sent back. And I'm living a much happier, beautiful life. Do I believe in God? Well, hey, I met him. And
Yeah.
and there are a lot of, religious Christian people that look at me now and go, hey, you're not doing it right.
You're not doing God right. You can believe in Jesus, but you have to believe in Jesus the way I believe in Jesus, or you don't get to be in heaven with me. Nobody says that verbatim, but that's literally what they're thinking.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
There. I was a Baptist, and then I was taught on the other side, you know what? All people get here because, if we are forgiven and it's in the Bible, Jesus died for all of our sins. So you can't have forgiveness and judgment.
I love it. Yeah.
So let's all how about we just love each other instead?
Well, you said forgiveness and judgment. There's also fear and love. And this came up months ago when I was talking with Stephanie Lodge, the hug angel. And she blew my mind. She was like, wait a minute. Isn't it an oxymoron if someone says they're a God-fearing Christian? And the Bible says God is love. So why would you be afraid of the thing that you call love? So you're really afraid of love? Or have you not really thought about your moral, your ethos with spirituality very much? You just believe it because you read it in a book. Just because you read it in a book, just because the government told you, just because your pastor told you, doesn't mean it's true. You have to figure it out for yourself.
That's right. You got fear on one side, love on the other. Well, you've also got judgment on one side, and you've got forgiveness on the other. So let's go with the whole forgiveness and love, and skip the fear and skip the judgment.
We got to talk about your book and your book is out now, right?
Barely, yes. It just came out. It's called A Most Beautiful Life, and it's on Amazon. And I'm really excited just because it talks about what happened to me and what I learned from it. And I hope it helps people. That's what's most important. I just want people to understand that there is a beautiful way to live, and that is to be in love with yourself, in love with others, to understand that there is absolutely no reason to fear what comes after life, because it is phenomenally beautiful. And when someone passes, feel good for them. Yes, we're mourning the physical being gone, but they're in a fabulous place, all of them. Awesome. So that's what my book is about. So
and there is a link below the video description. Anyone that wants to check that out and get a copy. Did you have any final words to share? Anything on your heart as a closing message?
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to, again, tell my story, just because it's the way I live now. It's the most important thing, is to just let people know that the most beautiful way to live is through love and compassion. And stop worrying about all the little details that go on in life, because they are so not important. It doesn't matter about politics or about work or about any of those things. All that matters are the relationships that we have and how much we can love other people. Because when you get to the other side, you're going to find out that looking back on your life, it just should have been all about love. That's what we as souls are. So just love each other, please.
It was so great talking to you today, and I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a blessed rest of the year and financial abundance back into your life and all those good things. Not that it's that important, but it is nice to get restoration, especially after what you went through.
And I wish you all the best in your success, and really your life now. that's turned around from it. You had a reason for doing that, and it's going to bring you abundance. And I look at it as a turning point for you, because there's always a reason. There was a reason for me to go through what I went through. There's a reason for you. You just have to find it and see it. Sometimes it takes a while to see. It's going to bring me something absolutely glorious.
Because my spirit